Thank you so much for joining us here. As you can see, there's quite a turnout. Star Wars Celebration 5, this is the main event.
It's just like your show, only smaller audience.
Yes. Just like my show, only popular. Well, very kind of you, one person. I just got here, so here's what I'm going to do. What we did is we gathered a bunch of questions from your fans around the world, and so I'm just going to ask you a series of those, and then we've got a couple of other surprises. Obviously, you're the master of creating worlds, and this is just a really lame version of Hoth, but we're going to... You're welcome. Oh, George, I'm sorry. By the way, my action figures are also available. Let's start. I'm sorry, I meant in-action figures. Let's just start off. First of all, welcome to Orlando. If I may. Have you spent time in Orlando previously? Have you been here before?
Yes. I live in Disney World.
Oh, you do?
Star Tours ride before we shut it down and open up the new one. Always go for a club.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with a question from the gentleman's name is Chris, Marietta, Georgia. Chris here? No? All right. Just to start with a slow question, just something easy to kind of break the ice, get us involved in a conversation, allow this thing to progress on its own. In episode 4, R2-D2 flees into the Tatooine night from the Lars homestead. The next morning, Luke and 3PO go off looking for him in Luke's land speeder. Makes sense, an astromech droid could probably roll a long ways in a 12-hour period. So Luke's driving himself and his new protocol droid across the desert landscape. And what? Hey, what? Hold on. What? Huh? What? Luke isn't driving? 3PO's got the steering wheel? What the? Why? What? 3PO? You guys been on Tatooine 60 hours. Around lost. Now he's driving the land speeder. 24 hours earlier he says, I'm not even sure which planet I'm on. Now he's cruising around driving this Daisy style. Skyhopper's God knows what else through Space Needles other than he loves speed, yet he lets a robot drive. Now, the question is, his land speeder wasn't an XP-38, but an inferior X-34. All I know is I wouldn't let the other, far more confused robot navigate. George, why?
Well, it's amazing what wonders a good oil bath can do for you. Once he relaxed, he got to his old self, which means that he can't do anything, but he can do it well.
Right. Does a protocol droid come with a GPS? Is that, did he have that within the system and then he...
No. R2 was the GPS system. So without R2, he's lost.
Here's an interesting question for you. This is just something that I noticed. You know, as I walked around the convention hall, there were R2-D2s, full size, being moved around, like laser guided, some were hovering, one made me a sandwich. Like, you know, the struggles that you had in filmmaking, what is it like to come here and see this room filled with working droids?
No, it's a tragedy. One of the great ironies of life, which is I spent literally 8 years trying to get R2 to work, to go more than 10 feet in a straight line, to be able to have one droid that could actually kick his leg out and go into the tripod position and move forward all at once. In the end, the droids, there were 8 of them, were so inadequate that we had to take a fiberglass mold of one of them and put it on a couple of sticks and run with some wagon wheels on it and pull it by a string. And here, they have the most beautiful R2 units you'd ever possibly imagine. They were made from everything. If only I could make another Star Wars.
You do realize now that if you don't get any sleep tonight, now it's going to make another one. I didn't know there was going to be another one.
There's no need
Here's
to.
a quick one. So, you're going to make one tonight? All right, fair enough. We should have had them mic'd as well, I think. All right, here's a quick one from, this is a great name, Chadmiral Akbar. I'm hoping his name is Chad. Maybe added it to Chadmiral Akbar, otherwise that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's a trap.
I'm sure he has a vanity plate that says it's a trap. All right. I've actually watched these quite a few times. The question is the names, your Bid Fortunas, your Dagobah system, your Forlon. Is there a process to the names? Is it a random? We'll throw up some of the names. Maybe you've got a quick Tatooine, Ewoks, Darth Vader, R2-D2, Dexter, Jester. Are there stories behind them? Is it something you pulled out of a hat? What is the story?
Well, right from the very beginning, the one thing about writing is I don't like to do it. And so I go to work at 9, I get up at 6, and all the writing is done between 5:45 and 6. Because I can't put it off anymore. I've got to get my 3 pages done, otherwise I'm toast. So I spend the rest of the day doing things that are supposed to be important but aren't, really are just a matter of waiting to get the mail. And one of those things is to write down names. I have a little book that has names, so I'm constantly saying, oh, that'd be a good name. And I do it with my son, with my, wherever we are, even in restaurants, I'll say, oh, that's a good name, I'll write that down. And
So
so,
why do you have characters like friendlies? Like where do they, oh, there's the new Admiral Nabisco.
if you look real hard, you're going to see a lot of that. What do I say, Ewoks is a derivation of where we live and where the Skywalker Ranch is on an old Indian site where an Indian village was, Miwok Indians. So that's where Miwok came from. Dexter Jester is named after my son Jet, who I call Jester. What were some of the other ones you had?
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, everybody knows that one. That's Dark Water and or Dark Father. And it's Dark Father in Dutch, or Dutchish.
Dutchish. Is there a Dutchish language? I didn't realize that. It's very similar to Belgian.
Right next to Belgian.
Yes.
And you can see that Belgian actually was taken over by Star Wars. And
this actually happened to me once. I'm walking through the convention center and there's a TIE fighter and it's a full-sized TIE fighter. And I said, oh, that's amazing that George brought that in here for people to see. And they're like, no, that was built by the Belgian 501st.
yeah.
Are there Belgians, not Russians?
There's political controversy there, whether they're French, whether they're German, whether they're Belgian. And so they're going to split into 3 different countries. Now it's 4 different countries. One of them is Alderaan. And there's a bunch of the 501st that are starting their own army there. They're going to actually break away when the whole referendum happens.